Good afternoon, all of you. So, in the last class, we were discussing some of the important words which are there in the preamble, and we had discussed the concept of socialism, uh, which is a word, socialist word, which is there in the preamble. Now, coming to another word that we need to develop an understanding, it is secularism. From secular, it is secularism. Secularism is religious neutralism on the part of the state. We can also say that no state religion the state not to associate itself with religious practices and beliefs. Not only this, we can also say that the state not to be associated with a particular religion. We can also add on that the state not to discriminate among the citizens on the ground of religion. So, in the preliminary examination, certain statements will be there that which of the following words explain or which of the following statements explain the idea of secularism. So, this is the general idea or the statements which are associated with secularism. And when we analyze this concept of secularism, the statements that we have written, based on these statements, basically, we can say that this is the Western concept of secularism. And in the Western countries, United States of America and the other countries, what has been seen is that there is a clear-cut separation between religion and the state. There is, we can say, divorce between religion and the state. The state not to interfere in any respect with respect to any religion. So here you can write as note, Such an understanding of secularism, such an understanding of secularism comes to us, comes to us from the history of Western Europe, from the history of Western Europe, where where the domain of state policy, where the domain of state policy and that of religion was separated, full stop. In the words of one of the American president, in the words of one of the American presidents, Thomas Jefferson, there is a wall of separation that exists between the state and religion. So basically, when you will give such dimensions the views, your answer will seem to be more authentic, more authoritative. That is why the quotes of the concerned persons may be given in the examination, because you see, we are not the experts in this field. We have developed the idea by going through the views of certain people. So this is the Western concept of secularism, where there is complete, we can say, separation between the state and religion. The state is not to interfere in the religious matters at any length. ये सिर्फ बोलने के लिए होता है. It is only for the sake of saying. Because if you talk about United Kingdom, they say that they are a secular country. But in the House of Lords, there is the representation of the churches also. So, but they claim that they are secular countries, but whatever it is, we need to write an answer. So if the question is that differentiate between the Western and the Indian concept of secularism, this is the Western concept of secularism. Now, when we talk about the dimensions of Indian secularism, here also we are not to write of our own. Basically what happens, that whoever is living in India, he considers himself as an expert of everything. I am talking about the layman's view, and they feel that they are the masters, and whenever an opinion is to be given, they will give an opinion in such a manner that they have done a PhD on this topic. But our answer has to be very much a structured answer. Our debate is not with a layman, but we have to write an answer like an administrator, a well-read person who has tried to understand the concept of secularism. Now, here, when we talk about Indian secularism, here we have got two views. One is the Gandhian view and Nehruvian view. The Gandhian view means what Gandhiji talked about secularism, what was his views about secularism. Gandhiji talked about coexistence of all the religions. That is the concept of Sarv Dharma Sambhav. The concept of Sarv Dharma Sambhav. We are not to use Devanagari script in your answers. ये हमेशा ध्यान रखना, we are not to use the Devanagari script. If it is Sarv Dharma Sambhav, we need to write in Roman script. English में लिखना है. We need to write in English. So, why Gandhiji talked about this concept of Sarv Dharma Sambhav or coexistence of all the religions? During the freedom struggle, Gandhiji had developed this view. And Gandhiji was of the opinion that if the people of India across the religions, they come together and fight for the independence of India, we will be able to get independence easily. That was his view. That is why he talked about Sarva Dharma Sambhav or coexistence of all the religion. Now, when we talk about Nehru, Pandit Nehru considered himself as a secular person. And Gandhi and Nehruji, basically he used to say that he also practices secularism. He did not used to go to the temples. Okay? But that was his personal view. Here views can differ. But when we talk about secularism, Nehruvian view is also important to us. And when we talk about Nehru's view, for Nehru, a secular state had got three meanings. Had three meanings. First, freedom of religion or irreligion for all. Religion as well as irreligion. You can be an atheist also. Means if you don't wish, you cannot follow a religion also. So freedom of religion as well as irreligion for all. Then secondly, the state to honor all the faiths equally. Here, when we say faiths, people say that, sir, what is difference between faith and religion? You see, religion is a broader term. Religion is a very broader term. And basically when we talk about this term in Hindi, it is Pantha Nirpeksha. So basically, if we derive in this way, religion has got a very wider dimension. And religion basically is used in different senses. For example, if I am not doing my duties properly, so it can be said that I am not, we can say, doing the my work, or if it is not fulfilling my duties, means I am not doing my religion. That is, ये अपना टीचर का धर्म नहीं निभा रहे हैं. Yes, then not only this, something expected from a ruler, a king. So it is doing one's duty. That can also be termed as religion, wider meaning. So if you are a student, you need to study religiously. You need to study religiously. So the word religion has got different dimensions. But when we say faith, why you keep fast, why you pray, why you bow before we can say the Almighty, because you have got faith. You have got faith. That faith can be on a piece of stone. That faith can be on, we can say, the idol or the statues. So it is your faith. So whatever the name you can give, what we show our faith in something. So faith is a much wider thing. A religion is a much wider thing. And faith basically जो बोलते हैं ना आस्था. So it is your faith in something, that no, if I will keep fasting, then I will get something. Then this person, I will get my works done. So it is your faith in something. So that is why the word faith has been used at some places. And then the third meaning of a secular state, according to Nehru, you can write it: the state shall not be associated with, the state not to be associated with a particular religion, or faith which by that act becomes the religion of the state. So basically, when we talk about India, it is a combination of the Western concept as well as the Gandhian concept. And in case of India, if you see that some scholars have given the view that in India, secularism will mean equal treatment to all the religions. So here in the next sentence you can write, after writing this, here you can write, some scholars, हाँ यहाँ नहीं, पूरा अब ये दोनों का पॉइंट के बाद, आफ्टर दिस, some scholars hold the view that in the Indian context, secularism is not only the recognition of faiths, but also equal treatment, equal treatment to all the faiths, equal treatment to all the faiths. Underline it, equal treatment to all the faiths. So state will not be away from religion, but the state will give equal value, equal importance. It will treat equally to all the religions. Now, in case of India, secularism has got a legal dimension also. These were philosophical things. So we have got the legal dimension of secularism also. Article 15 prohibits the state from discriminating among the citizens on the ground of religion, along with some other grounds. As we are discussing secularism, that is why I have given importance to religion. So, in the use of the public places, in the use of hotels, restaurants, parks, places of public entertainment like theaters, use of wells, bathing ghats, roads, there shall be no discrimination among the citizens on the grounds of religion or on other grounds. Nowhere the state should put a notice that this park is meant for the people of only this religion. This well is to be used by people of this religion only. This bathing ghat in this particular river will be used only for this particular religious group. So, such type of, we can say, discrimination has not to be there among the citizens by the state. Then, Article 16 provides for Article 16 prohibits the state from discriminating among the citizens on the ground of religion, along with some other grounds in public employment, public employment means job under the state. So, nowhere in a government job you may have seen that in qualification it is mentioned that the people of only this religion should apply. So it is equality of opportunity to all the citizens. Then now here you see it is in social aspect and this is government job. So basically these, if we talk about these aspects, these things really make the Indian state a secular state. Then articles 25 to 28 provides for freedom of religion, as fundamental rights to all. All will include everyone who is living in the territory of India, whether he is a citizen or an alien. Then articles 29 and 30 provides for the rights of the minorities, including the religious minorities. So the minorities, whether they are based on language or religion, they can have their educational institutions so that they can conserve their language as well as their culture. Culture here includes the religion also. Then Article 326 provides for universal adult suffrage. Suffrage means right to vote. Sometimes you will also find this word franchise. Franchise, suffrage, they can be used interchangeably. So suffrage means right to vote. Every adult, in case of India it is 18 years. Universal means it is not particular to a particular religion or caste or sex. It is given to every citizen who is an adult in this country. So here also Article 325 provides for a single electoral roll for the citizens in a particular constituency. There is no discrimination on the basis of religion. And in Article 326, universal adult franchise is the basis for the election in the Lok Sabha and in the legislative assemblies. So when we talk about this legal dimensions, the constitutional provisions, basically we can say that India is a secular country. So if the question is on positive secularism, these are the aspects that you can include here. It is not that the state will not be a party to your religion. Okay, state will not interfere in your religious practices as such, but the state can also always interfere on the grounds of health, morality, or social reforms can be initiated by the state. So otherwise we can justify even sati also. Sati can be justified. So basically the state can interfere here. It is not complete divorce. And not only this, we have seen the regulation by the state on our religious activities also. Now, if we need to write on secularism in India, you need to write about both these aspects, this aspect as well as this aspect. Then only your answer will be a complete one. If a question is asked that what is the distinction between the Western concept of secularism and the Indian concept of secularism, this is the Western concept of secularism. So after writing it, then you need to write the views that we have written here. Your answers have to be very much structured in the examination. It should not be here and there. Now, whenever we talk about secularism in India, there is a debate going on in India with respect to secularism. Not among the common man, but the scholarly debates going on in India with respect to secularism. Scholarly debates means the debate among the scholars. You see, in India, there are two views that have evolved with respect to secularism. Some scholars, they hold the view that India is a secular state. Such scholars, what they have done, they have taken into consideration the constitutional provisions with respect to secularism. So, what is the basis of this view? The constitutional provisions. With respect to secularism in India. So, keeping in view the provisions that we have discussed, some scholars, they say that India is a secular state. Then some scholars, they hold the view that India is not a truly secular state. Not only this, such scholars or some of them have gone to the extent of terming India as pseudo-secular. Some of them have gone to the extent of terming India as pseudo-secular. Pseudo means only for the namesake it is secular. It is not secular in reality. So pseudo-secular. Oh, India is not a secular country. It is only for the namesake it is secular. It is pseudo-secular. Now, such scholars basically, they have got their own viewpoints. Why they say that India is not a truly secular state? Basically, such scholars who hold this view, they have taken it, they have put forward certain arguments. So, what is the argument that they have put forward? First of all, the communal violences taking place in the country at regular intervals. India is a unique country. Why I say that India is a unique country? Because India and communal violence were born twins. On 15th August 1947, India got independence, and from that day, communal violence started in this country because of the unfortunate partition of India on the basis of religion. So, from that day, communal violences have been taking place in the country at regular intervals. Not a single year passes in this country where we do not have some major communal violence in a part of the country. Now, the scholars have taken into consideration this aspect that in a secular country, communal violences are justified. No. They do not blame the people of India for this purpose, but the state is being blamed for that. We got independence in 1947. We had the first elected government in 1952. And our political leaders, they did not control the education system also. So that from the very beginning, through our education system, the idea of secularism would have been imbibed in the minds of the common man. So from the very beginning, we boasted that yes, we have secularism. But through the education, we can say educational system, we were not able to imbibe the idea of secularism in the minds of the common man. And not only this, after a communal violence takes place in the country, how the communal violences are tackled in this country, it puts a question mark on the administrative machinery in the country. So, basically, when we talk about the scholars, they take into consideration this aspect that communal violences should not take place in a secular country. Then, secondly, after effects of the Shah Bano case. When we say after effects of the Shah Bano case, whenever you will study about secularism in the country, you will always read about Shah Bano case. Without it, a discussion on secularism will be incomplete. And wherever you will read some good articles on secularism, they have made a passing remark on the Shah Bano case. Some of you may be knowing about the Shah Bano case, some of you may not be knowing about it. In brief, I'll tell you about it. You see, Shah Bano, as the name suggests, was a Muslim lady. She was living in Madhya Pradesh and she was married to an advocate of Madhya Pradesh. And she had got 3 kids, and after that, after some years, when she grew older, the husband dumped her and did not formally divorced her, but married another woman. Shah Bano lived with that woman, but after that, when she grew very old, then the husband, who was an advocate himself, divorced her. Shah Bano went to the Madhya Pradesh High Court for compensation under section 125 of the CRPC. Under section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code of India, a woman after divorce, she is eligible to adequate compensation by the former husband. Many other clauses are also there in section 125 of the CRPC. So she demanded adequate compensation. The Madhya Pradesh High Court ordered the former husband to give some amount which was fixed by the Madhya Pradesh High Court. But the former husband appealed in the Supreme Court and he was supported by the clergies. In the Supreme Court, he gave the argument that for this purpose, he was not bound by the CRPC of the country. He was bound by the Muslim personal law, which was enacted by the British government and which was continuing even today. And as per the Muslim personal law, he had given the amount of meher at the time of marriage, and he had also given the amount of iddat, which is given after divorce. So he said that I have done everything what was required under the Muslim personal law. I will not give in a single paisa to this lady now. Then he gave another argument that the Muslim personal law is based on the law of the Almighty, whereas the CRPC was enacted by the common man. So how a law which is based on the law of the Almighty will be inferior to the law made by the common man? So obviously the Muslim personal law will be superior. The Supreme Court said anything more? He said, no, I am finished. Then the Supreme Court gave the judgment, and the Supreme Court said that Shah Bano should be given adequate compensation by the former husband. And not only this, what was more important in this case was that the Supreme Court increased the amount that was decided by the Madhya Pradesh High Court. Now here, the Supreme Court also observed that Shah Bano was a lady first and then a Muslim lady, and her basic rights have to be protected. So as the protector of the basic rights of the people, we order that this much of compensation should be given. The judgment had come in 1985. And after the judgment came, so here what we have, after effects of the Shah Bano case, not the Shah Bano case itself, after effects. Still Shah Bano case, it was the success of secularism in India. And not only this, it was in the Shah Bano case that for the first time the Supreme Court held that why we should not expedite the possibility of a uniform civil code in this country. That was the relevance of the Shah Bano case, that for the first time the court gave its observation on the uniform civil code in this country. Settled. But after that, politics started in this country. That is what the scholars have said. After effects of the Shah, these are not my views. It is all scholarly debates based on my readings. After that, politics started in this country. There was lot of pressure on the government from the clergies, imams, the Muslim Personal Law Board, that you need to change the law. There was a secular government which was there in the center, that is a Congress government. So, and Rajiv Gandhi was the prime minister. So after that, basically the things started in a different way. Legislative assembly elections were to be held in 4 or 5 states in the future, near future. And the Congress felt that it will be a good opportunity to win a vote bank, and the CRPC was amended. And it was added that if there is a conflict between a religious law, and section 125 of the CRPC, the religious law will be given precedence over, will be given importance over section 125. It means that through this law of the parliament, the Supreme Court's judgment was kept in abeyance. Supreme Court judgment was not for all the women. It was a particular case of only one woman who was suffering. But you see, a particular group of persons, in fact, we can say if the parliament has made a law, it was a reaction of the parliament against a single lady in this country. So, in this way, you see, the Supreme Court's judgment became invalid because you had a parliamentary law. Whenever the law is not there, it's all right, the Supreme Court judgment will be there. But if the law has been made, then the judgment is kept in abeyance. So, after that, the assembly elections took place, and the result was that the Congress was defeated in all the states. The Congress was defeated in all the states. Then obviously the different theory was given by the state, that by the political party, that why we were defeated. That is a different thing. But the purpose of the ruling party was not fulfilled there. So the scholars, they cite this after effects of the Shah Bano case, how the CRPC was amended after the Shah Bano case. The year was 1985, Vijay. Then if you talk about this aspect only, it will give an impression that, oh, you are a Hindu, that is why you are talking about uniform civil code. That is a different, we can say, narration that is given to everything in this country. Our answers have to be very much balanced. Scholars have given another argument also, that why we feel that India is not a truly secular state. It is demolition of, the next reason is demolition of the Babri Masjid. Demolition of the Babri Masjid can be termed as the darkest event that had taken place in independent India with respect to secularism. The way in which an ancient religious structure was demolished in this country put a question mark on the future of secularism in the country. And it put a question mark. Why? Because in the presence of the whole state machinery, the ancient religious structure was demolished. It was not that everyone was sleeping and some people went, anti-social forces went and they did it. No. It was in the broad daylight and in the presence of the whole state machinery, it was demolished. Means the state machinery was not able to protect the religious structure. So, basically, here you see that because of these three reasons, some of the scholars, they feel that India is not a truly secular state. So, that is why I made you to develop an understanding, because even if you need to write an essay also, then your answer has to be, the essay has to be structured. Because until and unless the things are not structured, you will go here and there also. Now the question is the way out. What type of secularism can be possible in India? Here also the scholars' view, not my view. Some scholars, they have held that secularism in the context that we understand may not be feasible in India. What is our understanding of secularism? Basically, people feel, why the Prime Minister will go to the temple? It is against secularism. Then why the President will go to a particular religious place? It is against secularism. Why the DM will go? It is against secularism. तब तो ये भी बोलोगे. Oh, it is a matter of faith. You cannot stop it. The person before becoming the Prime Minister, he may be visiting a religious place. That was his faith. He may have been going to the temple or to the masjid. A person before becoming a judge of the Supreme Court may be going to a religious place. It does not mean that after it, they should not go. अब आप सोचो. You people think that some of you may be worshipping a particular god, goddesses, or anyone. You may be going to offer prayers on Friday also. After becoming the district magistrate or after becoming a minister, will you stop that? No, it is your faith. So if we feel that secularism in this context will be not applicable to the ministers, it is completely different. They are also the citizens of India. Now, the scholars basically, they hold the view that what is required in India is tolerance. It is tolerance. This is also the scholar's view, that nowadays what we have seen in this country, nowadays from the time in we are living in the era of the social media. That is why we say nowadays. But you see, communal violences were taking place in India much earlier also, before the social media had come. So what is needed in India is tolerance. What is tolerance? Tolerance is allowing a person to read something at a particular place if he feels that, okay, it will give peace of mind. He should be allowed to read a particular book at a particular place. It is allowing a person to eat whatever he wants. There should be no check on him. We need to tolerate the practices of the other faith. ये नॉनवेज खाता है, तुम्हारे घर हम जाएंगे ही नहीं. It's sick. It's all right. What is this? It's intolerance. It is intolerance. I still remember I had gone to Kerala and my hosts, one of them, the husband was Muslim and the wife was Christian. And we went for dinner and beef was also served. So they offered me. Then I simply said one sentence, that I have not developed a taste for it. Yes, I have not developed a taste for it. If you have developed a taste for it, you can have. I have no problems. I have no problems. But I have not developed a taste for that. Hey, what are you eating? What is it? It is their, we can say, wish. It is their wish. It is their life. So basically, we need to be tolerant towards the habits, the food's habit, we can say the prayers of the other religion. We need to respect it. But one thing is required in the society is that we need to give respect to the sentiments of the others also. Suppose pork. You all know pork? How many of you have ate pork? कितने लोग जानते नहीं हो कि व्हाट इज पोर्क? हाँ बोलना जरा. So pork is prohibited in Islam. Now if you throw pork before a religious place or before a masjid, what is it? बदमाशी है. बदमाशी है भाई. If the Hindus, they don't like beef, आप उसके सामने गौवध करके फेंक दोगे मंदिर के सामने. It is not good. These things are not acceptable. So we need to respect the habits of others also, the culture of others also. Then only in a diverse country we will be able to survive. Because for every action there may be reaction also. So we need to look into this aspect also. So it is respecting others' views also that is required. So tolerance is required in this country. And how tolerance will come? Tolerance will come only through education. Only through education. And it is not literacy, it is education. Literacy and education are two different things. And when you are educated, then basically you will think in the right direction. Everything starts here. Everything starts here. And love, hate, war starts from the human mind. And if you change the human mind, then obviously the world can be changed, and that can be done only through education. So good education is required. Kabhi bhi, you see that suppose someone will ask you that chalo, let us go and indulge in communal violence. These people are against our religion. You should say, Arey, we have got many good things to do in life. Yes. Even if you will be paid 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, you will not go. But why people go? Why the youth go? Because they are unemployed also. So education will give work also to every hand. Because all, you see, where communalism is the most. Communalism enters where there is a developmental vacuum. You can observe it. Where there is developmental vacuum, such type of things, we can say communalism, not communism, communalism, it enters. You see, the Nigerian society, there is always a clash between the Christians and the Muslims. Why? A very, we can say, underdeveloped state, Nigeria. So, wherever there is communalism, it has been observed that there is a developmental vacuum. So, basically, a good education will give work to everyone. Because communalism is linked, it has got its economic dimension also. So, education is important. And not only education, so education will give work to hands also. Because poor people or poverty or poor stomach, we can say, is prone to every type of bad things. So empty stomach is the reason of many evils in this country. So we need to give work to the people. This is what we need to write and answer. But suppose a case study is there before you. I'll give you all the dimensions how you need to, because if you have understood the preamble, the words, you'll be able to solve the case studies also. Even in the interviews, if you are asked that you have been made the district magistrate of a communally sensitive district, what will be your blueprint to check communal violences in that particular district? Then basically here, when we talk about such type of questions, that what will be your blueprint to tackle the problem of communalism in your country, in your particular district, then it is not that you should say, sir, I will be organizing all party meeting, all religious meeting, I will call the useless thing. No one hears those people now. Yes, the youth is thinking in a very different line. So you'll say, sir, I'll start with the very basics. Right to education has become a fundamental right. So I will encourage the people, especially of the rural areas, to send their kids to the schools. And what I will do, I will involve the NGOs in encouraging the local population. This is the first thing. Because we need to start with the fundamentals. Because the future of the country lies with the young generation also. So this is my first thing, that the first initiative I will be taking. Secondly, what I will be doing is that those who have completed their school education, but they are still unemployed. They have done after 10th, they have not done anything. For that, I will be having the skill development program in my district. Here I will be involving the NGOs. We have got enough resources in the country. The government programs and policies are there. So I will be organizing the skill development. We can say I will be trying to make these things a reality. I will rope in the private sector also to give, to increase, we can say, to do the skill development, and then to encourage, we can say, I will encourage the youth to join the companies, so that, sir, every hand will get work. And thirdly, sir, I will be organizing cultural programs at regular intervals, which will allow the citizens to interact with each other. Such type of activities. And sir, finally, that is the last step. Because if your society is ready, your youth are employed, then, and if the kids are getting good education from the very beginning, obviously, sir, will not have to face such type of problems. Then the board will be very much influenced by you, impressed by you. He is a bureaucrat with a vision. He thinks for the long term. He is thinking in a long term direction. So basically, you will always be considered as a better administrator. So you need to develop such type of ideas also. It is not only secularism. Yes, I know the meaning of secularism. As a district magistrate also, basically what type of policies I will be having. I've just give you food for thought, because in the case studies, basically such type of cases will be given to you, and in the interview such questions may be asked to you. This was all that we needed to discuss in the we can say with respect to the concept of secularism. Now coming to democracy. Yes. So when you are in a comfort zone, and when someone tries to take your comfort, you'll always speak against it. You'll always speak against it. And what you will try to make the people believe that these things are against you. But who is being benefited by that? It is a big question that the people need to think of. That is the only thing I need to say. Wherever we have got underdeveloped society, in the United States of America also, if you talk about France also, there is intolerance. There is intolerance. But basically, if you see that that is a government policy also which is working there. That, because if you talk about France, in France sometimes what they do is that they put a ban on veil, on turban. So it puts a question mark on the liberalism of France. That is the state as a whole what it is doing. So when the state should not have such type of policies. And that is why once a question was asked in the examination that what France should learn from India with respect to secularism. So in a multicultural society, we need to have such type of thinking. So basically the state policies is like, and if you talk about France, in France, what the policy they follow? When you are in France, think like a French. वहां पे the trees are of the same size. But human being में basically that is the difference. If you are sick, obviously you will be wearing turban. एक थोड़ा कि एक ही जैसा सब लोग लगेंगे. ऐसा भी नहीं है. So when there was a ban on turban, Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. He wrote a letter to the French President regarding it, that what type of policies you are making. How the people of different religious groups will live in your country, and you say yourself as a liberal country. So that is a criticism of such type of countries. But overall, a generalization I have made, that always the communal violences they take place. If it is a state-sponsored one, that is a different thing. But if it comes from the people, why people indulge? Because they lack in the basic economic necessities. Now, coming to democracy, you see, democracy is a term that we all are aware of. Democracy is a combination of two words. Demos plus Gracia. Demos means people and Gracia means rule. And democracy will mean rule by the people. Democracy as a political system has to be understood. We had discussed federal system, unitary system. We had discussed parliamentary system, presidential system. But such type of systems, they are present either in democracy or in dictatorship. That is a more broader way. When we talk about democracy, it is opposed to dictatorship. And whenever we talk about dictatorship, dictatorship has got manifestations in different way. First of all, it can be a monarchy. Then military rule. Then one party system. Personalist regimes. These can be the manifestation of dictatorship. Monarchy, there is a hereditary rule. Military rule means the rule is through bullet, not through ballot. One party system. It is not one party rule, it is one party system. Constitutionally, if only one party is recognized, it is a one party system, like China. Now, sometimes the students ask me that, sir, why we will be putting the one party system under dictatorship? Now you see that in this class, we 100 odd students are sitting, and we have got a different viewpoint on different aspects. And based on that, we have got our own thought process. For example, I may be giving emphasis on the freedom of the individuals. Some of my students, you may be thinking about equality in the society. There is no everyone should be equal. Equality has to be given importance. Some of you may be thinking about the women rights. Some of you may be thinking about probity in public life. Means there should be honesty in public life. So you can be thinking on that that aspect. Based on our thoughts, we have got affiliation towards the ideologies. What is a political party? A political party is the reflection of the ideology of a person. How we think. How we think. So you see that in this class, we 100 odd students are sitting, and we have got different thought process, different way of looking into the society, and based on that, we have got allegiance towards this political party or that political party. Can you imagine that a country like India, like China, which is one of the most populous countries of this world, people are thinking in the same way? It means you are compelling the individual that you need to believe in Marxism. You need to have a communist thought. So if it is not dictatorship, it is dictatorship. If the constitution would not have recognized any political party as the official political party, and if the people would have voluntarily gone for only one political party, it would have been a democracy. But through the constitution, you have made a system where everyone must be a member of the Communist Party of China. Otherwise, you will not even get a job there. You must be a member of the Communist Party of China. So that is why we have put one party system under dictatorship, because people are compelled to follow only one ideology. Personalist regimes, the regimes that we had seen in the past, Hosni Mubarak of Egypt, then Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, Saddam Hussein of Iraq. So, one person, then your North Korean leader will come under this also. A personalist regime. Even the political parties, they are created and they are to justify the regime only. So, we are more interested in democracy, just to give an idea that what type of systems can be termed as dictatorship. But we are more interested in this concept of democracy. Now, coming to the meaning of this term democracy. Democracy also has got different connotations. The most popular of meaning of democracy is democracy as a form of government Now, whenever we talk about democracy as a form of government, what are the conditions of such type of democracy? Presence of more than one political party competing for people's vote. So the state should not dictate its ideology on the people. and more than one political party, and these political parties will be competing for the vote of the people. Then the government is elected through regular elections, which are based on universal adult suffrage. Change of government through ballot, not through bullets. This is one of the most important aspects of a democracy. Then freedom of press. Then respect for civil supremacy. You may not have even heard about it. Respect for civil supremacy. What is this concept? You see, in democracy, even the military leaders, they respect the rule by the civilians. You see our armed forces, they work under the guidance or the instruction of the political leadership. That is respect for civil supremacy. That the government which has been elected by the people, even the armed forces should give respect to that. They should not be indisciplined. You see our neighbor. You see our neighbor. There the army controls the government. The army controls the government. People did not come to know about our army chief. But you all may be knowing the name of the army chief of Pakistan. That is the difference. You may not be knowing about the CDS, the chief of the आपको पता भी नहीं होगा बहुत कि CDS कोई ऑफिस भी होता है इंडिया में. Yes, because your political leadership, whom you have trusted, it takes all the decisions, and they will be implementing it. There is respect for civil supremacy. Then rights and liberties enjoyed by the people. Then rule of the majority, but respect for, or but recognition लिख लेना, recognition will be better, recognition for or of the minority rights. These are the dimensions of democracy as a form of government. So whenever we say democracy as a form of government, these are the aspects that we take into consideration. And here, these are the features of liberal democracy. So if in the preliminary examination the question is, which one of the following or which of the following are the features of a liberal democracy, then These are the features of liberal democracy. Because minimum knowledge is expected from the civil services aspirant. Now, here, if you talk about this aspect, it is democracy as a process. It is a procedure. We call it as procedural democracy. But there is another dimension of democracy, that is democracy as an ideal. Here, whenever we say democracy as an ideal, we think about a democratic society, the values of democracy. So, in a country, there can be the procedure of democracy that may be present, but the democratic ethos may not be there. The values associated with democracy may not be there. So, that is also very important. So, here, a democratic society refers to that society where prevails justice, equality, and liberty. So you may have heard that even in monarchy, sometimes the people say, our king is democratic. Our king is democratic. If the king treats everyone equally, if the king imparts justice to the people, if he gives emphasis on the freedom of the individual, even the king may be termed as democratic. So that is why in some of the countries the people sometimes say, oh, our king is democratic. Even in respect to your family also you use these terms. Oh, my father is a dictator. He won't allow me to go for a night show. What do you think? Then the other one says, your father, my mother is also a dictator. So here what you are talking about? You are talking about the values. That is, so even in a family, we don't have such type of system. But yes, we say, oh, my father, he's liberal. My father is liberal. Oh, if we have a democratic family, we discuss each and everything and then we come to a decision. So we use such type of things even in our common life. So, two meanings of democracy: democracy as a form of government and democracy as an ideal. Even though some of the countries have got democracy as a form of government, but until and unless democracy as an ideal is not there, then it cannot be termed as a truly democratic state. We need to have both the procedure of democracy as well as the substance of democracy. Both are required. Then only that country will be a prosperous country. Now, apart from it, some other aspects are related with democracy. Next, third point you can write. The success of democracy depends on rationality of the citizens. Such type of understanding based statements may also be there. And when we say rationality, why we give emphasis on rationality? Because in democracy, the decisions are arrived at by discussions. And a rational human being, he will not talk nonsense. He will not talk nonsense. So, here, the consensus will be arrived at by discussion, by debate, and while discussing, while debating, the individuals should use their rationality. The more rational the people are, the more successful the democracy will be. So, such type of statements may be asked in your examination. Now, coming to another dimension of democracy, democracy as a political system. All these are important from the prelims point of view. Now, when we talk about democracy as a political system, across the globe, we can see two types of democracies. In some of the countries, we have direct democracy. And in some of the countries, we have indirect democracies. In a direct democracy, there is direct participation of the people. In the governance. And on the other side, when we talk about indirect democracy, it is rule through the representatives of the people. It is also termed as representative democracy. So, in indirect democracy, we elect our representatives. After that, those representatives make laws for us, they govern us, and after a fixed time, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever is fixed in the constitution, the people, the citizens again take part in the election, and then again they are busy in their own work. Most of the countries in the world, they have got indirect democracy. You see in America, the people elect the American president for 4 years, and after that they are not involved in the decision making process. The law making is done by the Senate and the House of Representatives. People have directly no role to play in the law making process also. In case of India also, if we talk about our representatives, we elect the members every 5 years. The government is formed, then we forget. The government makes laws for us. The government takes decision for us, and after that we again vote after 5 years. Indirect democracy. It is also known as representative democracy because the governance is through the representatives. Our direct involvement is not there. Now, when we talk about direct democracy, many of us may not be aware about how direct democracy works. Sorry. We have got four devices of direct democracy. Initiative, referendum, recall, and plebiscite. All these are important from the prelims point of view. One by one, I'll tell you. First of all, when we talk about initiative, initiative device by which people initiate the laws to be made. I repeat, it is a device by which people initiate the laws to be made. If the majority of the voters, they request the government to make a law, then the government will make a law on that subject. The initiative will come from the people. So here it is not that 50 or 100 or 1000 of the citizens, they will go to the government, hey, you make a law on this. The majority of the voters, they should request the state that we want to have a law on this, please make a law on this topic. Then the state may make a law on that topic. So here the initiative has to be taken by the people. Then referendum. Referendum is a device. Referendum is a device by which the laws made by the state, are referred to the people for their approval. In an indirect democracy, what happens? After a law is made, then we come to know about it. The law is made, it is passed by the legislature, the head of the state signs it, and then it is notified in the gazette, and we come to know that, okay, this is the law. But in a direct democracy, after a law is made, it will be referred to the people. Just like in the elections, the people will come and vote yes and no, and they will put the ballot in the box, yes and no. And if the majority of the people say yes, then only basically the law will be implemented. Otherwise the law will not be implemented. And so people will initiate the laws. After the law is made, it will be referred to the people, and if the majority of the voters say yes, then only the law will come into force. Then recall. Recall is a device by which the elected representatives can be called back can be called back if the majority of the voters can be called back if the majority of the voters wish so. Wish so. So at any point of time you can call back your representatives. Then plebiscite. Plebiscite is a device by which the views of the people can be ascertained on an issue of political importance generally. People get confused, even the journalists get confused while using the word referendum and plebiscite. And they use the word interchangeably. But referendum is after a law is made, it is referred to the people. It is referred to the people. Then if the majority of the people say yes, obviously the law will be implemented. Here, a law has not been made and a political issue is there. The views of the people will be ascertained. That will be termed as plebiscite. For example, if the people of Jammu and Kashmir will be asked a question that whether Jammu and Kashmir should be given autonomy or not, that will be a plebiscite. It will not be a referendum. The law is made and then if it is referred, it will be termed as referendum. Now, a question for you, that whether direct democracy may be feasible in case of India or not. No, why? Achha, we have got a vast population. Okay, very vast population. So, if we talk about the direct democracy may be feasible only in the states which have got a lesser population and where even diversity is not too much. You see, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, the whole country is divided in the name of religion, language, caste, regional aspirations are also there. And you know, India is a unique country. A group of people will say Bharat Bandh. Why? Reservation is not to be provided to this group. Other group, Bharat Bandh for reservation. So there will be clash when there is diversity. So it may not be feasible in India. I will come to that question later on. But such type of system is there in Switzerland to some extent, not to complete extent, to some extent. So you can write an example here. Direct democracy, ऐसे लिखना, initiative and referendum are in practice. Initiative and referendum are in practice in Switzerland with respect to constitutional laws. With respect to constitutional laws. Not for ordinary laws. Not for ordinary laws. So in Switzerland, if the constitution is to be amended, the initiative has to be taken by the people. That is what we have mentioned, constitutional laws. If 10,000 people or the 10,000 voters of Switzerland, they give it in writing with the signature to the government that we want these clauses of the constitution to be amended. After that, the government will officially ask the people, that 10,000 of your fellow, we can say citizens, they have requested to amend these articles of the constitution. Do you agree? If 50,000 voters they agree to that, then the constitution will be amended accordingly. And after the constitution is amended, that will be referred back to the people, that whether we have amended the constitution in accordance with your views or not. The voting will take place. So, initiative and referendum only. And in the cantons, cantons are the states. Just as India, we call them states, but in Switzerland, the states are known as cantons. So, the cantons have been given the autonomy to decide about themselves, that whether they will be having initiative and referendum even for the ordinary laws also, because the size is very small. One canton can be equivalent to one small town of India also, one small city of India. The city is बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है, towns of India also. So they have also been given, we can say, independence with this regard. Now, when we talk about some other countries, if we talk about France, referendum is in practice in France to some extent. So for your knowledge, you can write it. Referendum is in practice in France under the following conditions. Under the following conditions. First, the French president can refer a constitutional amendment bill, passed by the French legislature, to the people for their approval. Secondly, the French president can refer an international treaty, or an agreement signed by France to the people in a referendum. So it completely depends on the president. If he wishes, he can refer the matter or refer the international treaty or agreement that I have signed or the state has signed. What you say about it? Then thirdly, all laws with respect to social security, passed by the French legislature has to be referred to the people in a referendum. It is mandatory. It is mentioned in the Constitution of France that if any law with respect to social security is passed, what type of laws will come under social security? Special provisions for the economically or socially backward citizens, then special we can say provisions for the people with disability, all will come under it. So that is social security. Pension for the widows, pension for the old age people, all will come under this social security, because it is taxpayers' money. And if you are going to have such type of policies, you need to take the approval of the taxpayers also. So you say that even in France we have referendum to some extent. Now coming to India, this concept of direct democracy may not be feasible in India, as you may have told me. That is because of the huge population of the country. There is diversity in the country. And not only this, there is lack of the political, or we can say the knowledge or political awareness among the people. So if the people are not aware, how they will vote for a bill or against a bill which has been passed by your legislature? In India, people do not get 2 square meals a day. They do not get 2 square meals a day. Many of us are illiterates. Not only this, even though we are literate, we have undergone some formal education, we are not aware about many aspects. For example, suppose a bill has been passed by the parliament, and in the absence of any knowledge or awareness on that issue, how the people will vote in a referendum? यहाँ वोट तो पैसा लेके देते हैं. In case of India, people vote by taking money. They vote in the name of caste. They vote in the name of religion. So obviously, such exercise of referendum may also prove to be futile. Futile means useless. So where there is lack of awareness among the people with respect to the issues, referendum may not be feasible. Then, so referendum is not feasible because of the type of society that we are having. Chalo, you people may be preparing for the semester examination, may be reading the newspaper, but many of us may not be aware that what is going on in the country. है कि नहीं? अब there is, you see, differences of opinion in this country. एक बोलता है पीओके तक चले जाना चाहिए था, पूरा जीत जाना चाहिए था. अरे what you want? बैठ के फेसबुक पर लिखते रहोगे और भाषण देते रहोगे, that is not the end. Your political leadership is also there. एक घर में एक बच्चा एक बच्ची विधवा हो जाती है, आप समझ रहे हो उसका रिपरकशन कितना होता है. बॉर्डर पे एक सिपाही मर गया बेचारा, उसका तुम तो यहाँ पे हाँ एलओसी कंट्रोल हो गया, आराम है, तुम मजे आ गए तुम्हें तो यार. फेसबुक पे लिखते रहो बेकार की बातें. व्हाट इज इट? यूजलेस थिंग्स. सो आप वॉर मॉन्गरिंग कर रहे हो. You don't know the repercussion of war in this country. God has given us 3 things. सबसे ऊपर दिमाग, फिर दिल और तब पेट. और जो सबसे घटिया आदमी होता है सबसे पहले पेट के बारे में सोचेगा, पेट भरना है, उसके बाद फिर वो दिल से बात करेगा. एंड देन लास्ट में दिमाग लगाएगा, वो लास्ट में दिमाग लगाएगा। लेकिन भगवान ने बहुत अच्छे से बनाया ना, पहले दिमाग लगाया, पहले दिमाग लगाओ यार, बिकॉज इमोशंस जहां प्रिवेल करते हैं ओवर रीजन विल बी फेलियर्स इन आवर लाइफ। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है। तो मैं देख रहा था लोग लिखते रहते हैं कुछ कुछ, कोई बात, इसकी औकात ही नहीं होती हो तो कुछ भी बोले बैठ करके। अब हम लोग बेरोजगार आदमी एक तरह से, हम तो रात रात भर नहीं जगे ना, वहां बैठ के सिचुएशन तो देखा नहीं। फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी 8 बजे सुबह आते हैं, वो तुम्हारे को प्रेस में ब्रीफिंग देके बेचारा जाता है, वही कपड़ा पहन करके वो 12 बजे फिर रात को 10 बजे आके तुम्हें प्रेस ब्रीफिंग देता है। सोचो उस आदमी का डेडिकेशन, वो तुम्हारे बारे में सोच रहा है। बेशर्मी की तो हद है इस देश में। और कौन कमिट कर रहा है? अनएम्प्लॉयड यूथ, फ्रस्ट्रेटेड है। सो अपने वो हार्वर्ड का भी प्रोफेसर नहीं होगा वो, कि कोई मेरिट लेकर के बहुत बड़ा वो करके पढ़ाया जो क्रिटिसाइज करता है, उसको समझ ही नहीं होगी क्या चीज है। तो ये सब अगर आप चीज देखोगे, कल आप खुद ब्यूरोक्रेट बनोगे तो आपको लगेगा कि एक आईपीएस रात रात भर कैसे जग जग के ड्यूटी करता है। हम लोग तो घर में आराम से सोए ना। युद्ध, एक एक आईपीएस को वो बॉर्डर एरियाज में रात रात भर जगना पड़ता है, कहां क्या गिरा क्या नहीं गिरा, क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ। फौजी के घर जिसके पत्नी और जिसके बच्चे वहां पे मतलब घर पे रहे और वो लोग वहां पे, उनसे जाके पूछो वॉर मॉन्गरिंग क्या होता है। तो वी नीड टू बी ह्यूमन बीइंग्स। पाकिस्तान के लोग दुश्मन थोड़ी ना यार, हमारा टारगेट बिल्कुल अलग था। हमें एक मैसेज देना था कि भाई वी आर वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट अगेंस्ट टेररिज्म। तो कोई भी अगर सभ्य समाज में आदमी रहता है, बेसिकली ठीक है, आपको यहां टारगेट किया, आपने कर दिया, बात खत्म। सिविलियंस को मारना ऑब्जेक्टिव थोड़ा ना, हम भी तो सिविलियन है, कल हमको भी तो कोई मारेगा, हमारी माए भी तो रोएंगी। सो बोलना बेटा बहुत इजी होता है। तो मैं वही आपको एग्जांपल दे रहा था कि इन आवर कंट्री बेसिकली व्हेन वी आर नॉट अवेयर अबाउट मेनी ऑफ द थिंग्स, और हम लोग सोचते हैं कि हम लोग बहुत विद्वान हैं, वो अजीत डोभाल पागल है, वो हाँ ठीक है आपका पीएम वो हो सकते हैं, और नहीं आप अपने पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप को बोल सकते हो कि वो पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड होकर के काम करते हैं, बट आपके नहीं, आई एम नॉट यूजिंग द वर्ड पागल फॉर हिम, नो, मतलब आपका पॉलिटिकल परसेप्शन पे डिपेंड करता है, आप लोग बोलोगे। लेकिन आप लोग नहीं जानते हो ना कि हमारा नेशनल सिक्योरिटी एडवाइजर किस तरह से काम करता हो, कैसे वहां पर उस लेवल पे, तुम्हारे अंदर फ्रस्ट्रेशन हो कि तुम नहीं हो। तुमको एक दिन सिपाही बना करके यहां 24 घंटे धूप में खड़ा कर देना, समझ में आएगा कि दिवाली और होली क्या होती है। हम लोग सिर्फ सिस्टम को क्रिटिसाइज करना जानते, वो एक बहुत बड़ी बात है। कश्मीर में जाकर के देखो जो हमारे आईपीएस और आईएएस ऑफिसर काम कर रहे हैं, एक बेचारा वो एडिशनल डीसी मरा ना थापा साहब, अब बताओ उसका परिवार का क्या हो रहा होगा। और आप पीओ के कब्जा करने के चक्कर में एक देश तो तुमसे संभल नहीं रहा है, पीओ के कैसे संभालोगे। तो बेरोजगारी का हद है देश में, एक बेरोजगारी का हद है। तो मैं बता रहा हूं कि जब इंडिया जैसे देश में हम लोग अपने आप को सो कॉल्ड एजुकेटेड बोलते हैं, वी डोंट हैव अवेयरनेस, तो अगर हम उनसे पूछने लगेंगे तो देश गया, ठीक है, यस देश गया आपका। तो जहां when there is lack of awareness among the people, इसलिए बोलो लिटरेसी इज समथिंग वेरी डिफरेंट, वी नीड टू बी एजुकेटेड, वी नीड टू बी एजुकेटेड। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। जब आप लोग भी जाओगे ना पुलिस में और ये सब नक्सल अफेक्टेड एरिया में, तब समझ में आएगा कि भाई क्या चीज होता है वायलेंस। तो अब कमिंग टू रिकॉल, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट रिकॉल, way back the Anna movement was going on in India, in Delhi, and Anna Hazare was talking about direct democracy, and it was in 2010 2015 and 2010 2011, and Anna Hazare and 5 of his group members, they had framed a draft of a law, and they were pressurizing the government that you get this law passed. And Anna Hazare was saying that if it is democracy, he used to use the word Lok Shahi. So there was enthusiasm among the people. And by chance, I was taking a class in Bangalore at that point of time. I told you. And after Delhi, Bangalore used to be the city which used to be very much conscious. अब तो दिल्ली के बाद दिल्ली तो खत्म ही हो गया क्योंकि the person who used to be there, he became our chief minister. Who used to lead the protests. Now he was the he became the CM. So everything stopped here. So, but in the class, I was discussing this aspect with the students because at that point of time, whether we should go for direct democracy or not. So here basically, when we talk about this term recall, one of my students says, sir, yes, sir, we'll recall them. If our representatives will not perform well. But it was an emotional outburst from a voter who is not satisfied with the representatives. But practically it may not be feasible also. Recall may not be feasible in India. I will tell you the reason. It is because of the election system that we have in India. What type of election system we have in India? We have the first past the post system. And this first past the post system is used in India to elect the members of the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. And in the first past the post system, a candidate who relatively gets more votes is declared as the winner. So here example I'll give you. Suppose we have got these 5 candidates. Suppose A gets 2,885 votes, B gets 3,000 votes, C gets 1980 votes, D gets 2,200 votes, and E gets 3,010 votes. Going by the first past the post system, who will be the winner here? E is the winner here. Because in comparison to the other candidates, E has got the maximum number of votes. But the problem is that even though E has been declared as the winner, E is not the popular person. E is not popular. Because you combine the votes of A, B, C and D. The combined votes of A, B, C and D will always be more than what E has got. So he is not very popular. That is why in India you say, we face this problem of legitimacy. Everyone in the constituency will say, I have not voted for this person, I have not voted for this person, I have not voted for this person, but that person is elected. Why? Because in majority of them has not voted for him, they have not voted for him. But he is the winner because comparatively he has got more number of votes. You may have observed that yes, some of our representatives are elected by huge margins. Elected by 3 lakhs vote, 4 lakhs vote, 5 lakh vote. All others, they lose their deposits also. But only certain percentage. Most of them, they are not very popular in the constituency, but they get elected. The loophole here is that Mr. E, the elected one, will go to the capital. After getting elected, I am the MLA, I am the MP, and after 1 month, they will combine together. Hey, call him back. Because from the first day he was not popular. From the very first day he is not popular. So obviously, if we'd have followed the proportional representation system, in which the candidate who get more than 50% of the votes is declared as the winner, and gradually his support would have decreased gradually, then we should have talked about recall. Earlier he was popular, now gradually he is becoming unpopular. But he is unpopular from the very first day. What type of recall we will be having? So basically I wanted to tell you about this first past the post system. This we have taken from United Kingdom. This first past the post system, and this first past the post system is used to elect the members of the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly. So because of this first past the post system, we cannot have recall in the country. Then if we talk about plebiscite, plebiscite has not been mentioned in our constitution. It completely depends on your political leadership. So here if you see, then direct democracy may not be feasible in India for the reasons that we have discussed. But what type of democracy we can have in India so that there will be more and more people who will be taking part in the process of decision making? For that, there is a neo-Marxist idea of participatory democracy. So you can write here as note. In India, direct democracy may not be feasible. Direct democracy may not be feasible because of large population, and diversity of the country, and the lack of awareness among the people with respect to the issues and the type of election system that we have, So this is the summary that we have discussed, that why it is not feasible to have direct democracy in India. Then in the next paragraph we can write, but what is feasible in India? Is participatory democracy. Participatory democracy. Underline participatory democracy. That is strengthening the grassroots democratic institutions like the Gram Sabhas and Gram Panchayats. Two words I have used here, Gram Sabhas and Gram Panchayats. Some of you may be aware, some of you may not be aware about it. Gram Sabha consists of all the voters of the village. And Gram Sabha is just like a village assembly. Suppose if we all are living in the village, we all will be the members of the Gram Sabha. Then if we talk about Gram Panchayats, the Gram Panchayats consist of the elected representatives. For example, if this is our whole village, we all are the members of the Gram Sabha as our name will be there in the voters list. Then the whole village is divided in different wards. Ward number 1, ward number 2, ward number 3, ward number 4, ward number 5, like this. And the voters of every ward, they will elect one representative. He will be termed as ward member. And these ward members, they constitute the Gram Panchayats. So Gram Panchayat is the elected body and Gram Sabha is just like the general body. It is just like the village assembly. So you see that the villagers may not be aware about the national issues. They may not be aware about the Waqf bill, about what is going on in this country, one nation, one election. They may not be aware about it. They may not have any awareness about it. But yes, the villagers must be knowing about the local problems that they are facing. The problems that the villagers are facing. So they can contribute in the affairs of the village. So that is why we need to strengthen the Gram Sabha as well as the Gram Panchayats. Let them participate at the local level. Secondly, making the political parties and the bureaucracy more responsive to the people. We have not used the word responsible. That is responsive. Responsible and responsive, these are two things. First of all, when we talk about responsible, for the completion of the topics, I am responsible to the management of the institution. I am not responsible to you. But while teaching, I need to be responsive. I should teach in accordance with the syllabus which has been prescribed by the UPSC. Means responsive. Because if I will not be responsive, then you will not feel interested in the class. The teacher is teaching useless things. These questions are not asked in the examination. Not a single question is asked. The teacher comes, he tells stories and go. Yes. You say, what is the biggest problem in this country today? That we are alienated. The common man is alienated from politics, and he is alienated from the administration. Why we are alienated? We don't feel the part of the political system. We don't feel as a part of the administrative system because the bureaucracy and the political parties are not responsive. That this is the work of the political parties. This is the work of the bureaucracy. This is not our problem. This is not our problem. So, here, how we should be involved in the decision making process through the political parties? While making the election manifestos, the people should be consulted by the political parties. And if we have got the election manifesto of the legislative assembly elections, it should have two parts. First, the problems of the constituency, and secondly, problems of the state. Then the voter will say, Acha, this political party is talking about the road. I had given the suggestion that this road should be better. I had given the suggestion that the sewer system should be better. You should feel good while going to vote. Otherwise, they are useless things. Suppose a person who is living in a remote place in Kalahandi district of Odisha. Kalahandi district of Odisha, why I said? Because it is a very backward district. And when you will just Google it, Kalahandi district, you will come across, we can say, the examples like the people or the kids suffering from rickets, malnutrition. And basically, when we talk about this particular aspect, then they are more worried about their own survival. And if suppose, if a national political party goes there and says that election manifesto, what is here? They don't know how to read. What is there? Article 370 will not be there. What is this Article 370? What is this Article 370? They are not getting 2 squares of meals there. They are having malaria there. They want these common problems to be solved there. And there you will go and say 370 will not be there. What is this? Useless thing. I will not go and vote. These political parties are not talking about our interest. They will feel alienated from that. This is a major problem. Why alienation is there? So while making the election manifestos, the political party should consult the people, the voters. Then while utilizing the MP local area development fund also and the MLA local area development fund also, the people of that particular area should be consulted. For example, if the MP wants to spend some money in a particular area, he should go. He should call the meeting of the mohallas, we can say the people of that area. So basically, if the MP calls a meeting of the people of that RWA or that particular area, and they will say, okay, I want to spend some money here, what you people need? Then people will say that we want road, our sewer system is not good, you can spend some money here. So the MP can take a decision and he can depute 3-4 members of that particular area that, okay, we'll be starting this work, you supervise this work and you give the completion certificate, then I will release the 50% of the amount. Let people participate at this level. Participatory democracy. At the national level, they cannot participate. But here, okay, your manifesto should consist of these points. You should utilize the MP local area development fund for this purpose. The people will give the advice on that. Let them participate there. And I have written bureaucracy more responsive to the people. We are living in the era of district planning. So the district authorities, they should consult the Gram Panchayats. the local bodies before making the plan for the district. They need to be consulted. Not only this, the officers, they should be in touch with the common man at regular intervals. I have seen some of my friends who are there when they were IGs. They used to have the regular meetings. For example, in a month, a district was chosen by them, and then in that particular district, 3 or 4 police stations. The SSP used to be there with them. The SP used to, the deputy SP, the SHOs, and basically the people used to come in large numbers, and the IG is there, the SSP is there, the DSP is there, the SHOs are there. They used to talk about the problems, that these are the problems. Administration at the doorsteps of the common man. And these officers are very popular. They became very popular in those areas because they remained in touch with the common man. They are responsive to the people. That is why you see that if you talk about Mission Karma Yogi, which has been launched, and अभी के जो नए ऑफिसर्स आ रहे हैं ना, आप लोग जैसे जाओगे तो you will not be asked to work according to the rules. Your role is more important in the society than the prescribed rule. And so that is what the Prime Minister also says, that you need to spend more time with the people. Then only you will be able to understand their problems. Sitting in the room and taking the decisions, oh, I am a DM, why I will go there? It is scorching heat. No, you need to go, and then only you will understand the problems of the people. You need to be there. Then only you will be able to make difference. So here, the political parties and the bureaucracy, they should be more responsive to the people. They should respond to their needs. And then, thirdly, participation of the workers in the decision making at the workplace. The problem of many of the decisions of the government being failure is that the persons who implement, they are not consulted. Suppose you go to a State Bank of India. There they will be writing 20 minutes for opening of the new account, 15 minutes issue of checkbook. Many things are changing in State Bank of India also. Yes, many good things are happening. You will see them working as a corporate also. But at many places, you'll go, people standing in queues. It is mentioned 20 minutes, 1 hour. Then you will go, say, hey, I have been working for 1 hour. Well, so what? Well, it is mentioned that the work will be done in 20 minutes. So say, where it is written? So it is written there. I have not written, go and talk to the manager. So then he will start saying to himself, these rules are there, they have not asked us, he will be a frustrated person. Why? Because he is the person who will be implementing it. He was not asked that whether this work will be done in 20 minutes or 15 minutes. So citizens' charters have been prepared without asking the persons who will be implementing it. Similarly, if you are making some policies for the workers who are working in the blast furnace unit of the steel plants, what we generally do, a 3-member committee will be set up. Those 3 members committee will take their laptop, see the best world practices, and we'll also implement it. That may be or may not be feasible in India. Better, that team should send 3 members to the different steel plants, talk to the workers who are there in the blast furnace unit, that okay, What are the safety precautions you need here? What things you are having now? Sir, the quality of helmet is very good. We don't want it to be changed. But sir, the quality of the shoes are not good. Sir, this type of lighting facility should be there. Talk to them. Get an understanding of their needs. That is what we have written here. Participation of the workers in the decision making at the workplace. You will be able to involve more and more persons in the decision making level. So at the highest level, the national level participation may not be feasible, but at the local level, at the workplace, you can involve many persons in the decision making. It is a neo-Marxian idea. ये भी कोई मेरा अपना idea नहीं है. Yes, we have read something. Neo-Marxian idea. That is how you should develop the participation of the workers. Bollanger's, Carol Pateman, they had given such ideas that yes, we should have participation of more and more people. So these are all practical things also, because when you need to give advice, that is okay, how the participation of the people can be increased, how democracy can be made more meaningful. So you should say that direct democracy may not be feasible at the national level, but yes, we can have these steps at the lower level. So this was democracy that we needed to discuss. And one more thing, if you will be asked that what has been the greatest achievement of India till date? Till date, what has been the greatest achievement of India? One sentence you should say that India has been a stable democracy in this world. India has been a stable democracy. Our governments have not changed with the help of bullets, but only through ballots. That is the greatest achievement of India. And because if you'll have a good democracy, then obviously the other development will take place. Now coming to the term republic. Yes. What is electoral? Electoral democracy. Dekho, that nomenclature may have been given here and there by some people. So where we have the emphasis is given to the electorate, the voters, their needs. That is known as, that is a part of your political process only. Then coming to republic. It is a state where the head of the state is an elected one and is not a hereditary monarch. Not a hereditary monarch. So in India we have a elected president. So we are having a republic. So this is the first aspect that we needed to discuss. We needed to talk about the ideals. Questions may be there from here. One question from the mains point of view, you can write it. What are the adjectives attached to the expression republic? The second part of the question, how far these adjectives are defendable in the contemporary times. first of all, in the main examination, when we have got two parts of a question, you will have to first of all demarcate that which of the parts need to be given more emphasis and which of the parts need to be given lesser emphasis. Now here there are two parts. What are the adjectives attached to the expression republic? First part, a one-liner will be there that sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic are the adjectives attached to the expression republic. Only one sentence we need to write, because you have to be very specific what is the requirement of the question. Then coming to the tail part, that is the second part of the question, how far these adjectives are defendable in the contemporary times. So here we will have to analyze sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic, and you will have to show that whether they are relevant in the contemporary times or not. We are not supposed to explain them. You have not been asked, explain them. PYQ mein there was explanation which was asked, but I have changed the PYQ also, क्योंकि वो तो पूछ लिया थोड़ी ना, it will be asked. So here you say that when we need to write such questions, paragraph wise you need to write that sovereignty in the contemporary times is relevant in the sense that India in a, we can say, in a interdependent system, it maintains its independent foreign policy. All the decisions of the government are taken only in the national interest. आज चाहे लोग जो भी बोल रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान, यूएस ने बोला तो ये कर दिया, but the ultimate thing that was taken into consideration was the national interest. And the national interest is not fixed. It changes from time to time. Then basically whatever decisions have been taken, it is in accordance with the national interest. You see, in the war that is going on between Russia and Ukraine, Russia is a very good friend of us. Then earlier US was, we can say, pressurizing us to adopt a policy which was against Russia. We had got our own independent viewpoint on that. So even in the era of interdependence, what is guiding India's foreign policy is the national interest. And for a sovereign country, national interest is the most important aspect. So you need to write like this. Then in the era of liberalization, the idea of socialism, that is the idea of socialism still holds good. Welfarism is as important in the contemporary times as it was in the pre-liberalization era. Then the government responsibility is to check uneven development in this country, and another responsibility of the state is the protection of the interests of the workers as well as the consumers. Then so you have proved it that socialism, the word socialist is relevant. Then in the era, simply just to maintain your continuity, you need to write in paragraphs. After that, in the next paragraph, in the era of intolerance, the aspect of secularism, that is equal honor to all the faiths, equal treatment to all the faiths, stands good. Then the democracy as a form of government as well as an ideal in the society, having the virtues like justice, liberty, equality holds good. So thus the adjectives are, all the adjectives are defendable in the contemporary times, because in 150 words you are not supposed to write each and everything. You'll have to be very much focused that what is the need of the examination, and then you need to write. So adjectives means विशेषण बोलते हैं बेटा हिंदी में. तुम खाली हंसने में लग जाओ और एडजेक्टिव का मीनिंग भी नहीं जानते हो. हाँ शुभम झा, हाँ दांत तो ऐसे करके फोटो वोटो लगाते रहते हो. इतना टाइम कैसे मिल जाता है तुम लोगों क्लास में? Then so you see, in the examination such type of questions can be expected, but you remember whatever I have told you, we have discussed it just now. Socialism, the relevance we have discussed. Then sovereignty, I told you, will be relevant. Then secular, it is very, we can say, relevant even in the present day society, because intolerance is there. And democracy will always be relevant, both as a procedural thing, as a substantive thing. So these are defendable in the contemporary times. How you can defend them in the contemporary times? Such questions can be asked in the examination. So these were the aspects that we needed to discuss in today's class. Some aspirations are also there that will be taking up for discussion in tomorrow's class. For the online students, those who were saying that sir, today the class was started earlier, it was not earlier, it was on time. You came late today, and the timing of the classes have been changed so that you can get more time, and we'll have a 2.5 hours class. From today onwards we have started it, and the class will start at 12:30 p.m. and I'll try to wind it up by 3 o'clock. So stop here. Can you provide up? तो इससे अच्छा क्या मॉडल आंसर दूंगा भास्कर? बता दो दिया आंसर. लिखा हुआ तो आंसर होता नहीं है मेरे पास. आंसर तुम्हें लिखना ना, एग्जाम में नौकरी तुम्हें मिलेगी. So we'll stop here for the day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.